Good morning, everybody. So, I am Dr. A.D.M.COLLEGE, HOD and Associate Professor of Commerce, A.D.M. College for Women Autonomous, NAGAPATTINAM. Today, I am going to discuss about recruitment and selection process. Today, we are going to see what is recruitment, what is selection, the meaning and definition for both the terms, sources of recruitment, namely internal and external sources, selection process, factors affecting recruitment and selection process, steps involved in recruitment and selection, e-recruitment, and conclusion. In the previous classes, we have been discussing about the human resource management, meaning, functions, process, principles, scope, etc. And we have also discussed about the functions of human resource management, namely administrative as well as operative functions. The administrative functions, namely planning, organizing, decision making and control. And the procurement, development, compensation, integration and maintenance are other functions of human resource management. Now today we are going to see the functions, namely recruitment and selection. So recruitment is the process of finding and attractive applicants for employment. So we have to go and we have to search for the employees for a concern. The employees are always there, but we have to find suitable applicants so that they will apply for the job. And it is a linking activity. That is those who are offering the job and those who are seeking the job. So both are at another ends. Those who are offering the job is one end and those who are seeking job is at another end. So we have to find the suitable applicants and we have to encourage them so that they will apply for vacancies. So this recruitment is preceding the selection process. So let me explain what is recruitment by explaining the definitions given by Edwin B. Filippo as well as Dale B. Beach and Yoder. What Filippo says, it's a process of searching for prospective employees, stimulating them and encouraging them to apply for jobs in an organization. So we have to search for the prospective employees. It is very difficult. We have to find and we have to go and we have to open our eyes and we have to search the employees. And he says about prospective employees. Prospective in the sense those who want to go for a job and those who want to work for a job. So we have to identify these prospective employees only. In some cases, even though there are some employees, they are not prospectives. They don't want to go for a job and so on. So we can't motivate them. So after identifying the prospective employees, we have to stimulate them and we have to encourage them to apply for the job in a concern. This is what is said by Edwin B. Filippo. So one more definition is given by Dale Breach. What he says is, recruitment is the development and maintenance of adequate manpower resources. So in every concern, we have to maintain manpower resources. So only when we maintain the manpower resources, when there is a need, we can draw the employees or the candidates from the manpower resources. So it involves the creation of a pool, available labor, upon whom the organization can draw when it needs additional employees. So whenever there is a vacancy arises, when there is a death or when there is a resignation or when there is a promotion or when there is a demotion or when there is a transfer or when the employees quit, there may be some vacancies may arise in a concern. So that is what is called deficiency. So in those cases, what we can do, we can go and get the labor from the pool. So this is what is said by Dale S. Beach. So another question in our mind is lingering now, how to get the suitable candidates. So we are telling that we have to go and we have to search and we have to get the suitable candidates for the job. But how we can get it? We can get by two sources. One is internal sources of recruitment and another one is external sources of recruitment. So internal means internally we can get the candidates. So that is actually the employees are working in the concern in different departments. The employees may be working in a sales department or the employees may be working in a production department or in a marketing department or in a finance department or in that is a budget department and so on. So a lot of employees are there in a concern, they are in a payroll. So when a vacancy arises in a particular department, we can get the candidates from the particular departments. We can ask them to apply for the job. So it is a process of getting the employees within the concern for fulfilling the requirements. So simply stating, it can be done by some of the sources, namely promotion, transfers and employees referrals. So promotion is actually a very common concept, all of you know well. The opposite of promotion is called demotion. So whenever an employee is working in a concern, he may be given a higher pay, higher hike of salary, higher designation, higher responsibility, a hike in everything. That is what is called promotion. For example, a person is working as a clerk in a concern, he is given as the job of manager. He is given the post manager, and salary is also some hike in his pay, responsibility, everything. So this is what is called promotion. So his present state, elevation of his status is called promotion. So in that case, we can get the candidates for the internal sources of recruitment. So actually, when the employees are working in a different departments, as a promotion basis, they may be employed further. So it involves enhancement in pay as well as position and responsibility and authority. So this is one of the important source of internal recruitment. So promotion can be done, and that is the retirement. Actually, the retired employees may also be given extension of service when there is non-availability of suitable candidates for the post. So it is very important, you know, when you talk about retirement, there are two schools of thought, whether the retired candidates can be again employed or not. So some people, what they say, they are experienced people and they got more experience, and they are so they can be given job when there is non-availability of resources or candidates, because they know about the concern, they know about the history of the concern, they know about the facilities available, and they know how to do the work, everything, because they got lot of informations available, and they got loyalty also. So they can also be given a chance, provided the non-availability of suitable candidates. So in that case, what we can do, the retired employees can also be given a chance, and they can be given an extension of service. This is one of the internal source. And another one is former employees who had performed well during the tenure may be called back with higher wages. For example, former employees may be at their homes or maybe working in some other places. If they are doing good, if their record is very good and they are very prominent and they are very perfect and so on, they may be called back, and they may given, for example, a tenure of 2 years or 3 years or 6 months or 1 year with higher wages, and incentives can be paid. And employee referrals. So actually, the present employees who are working in the concern, what they will do, they will contact their friends, or they will contact their relatives, or they will contact their own circle of associates who are working in different concerns to apply for the job. So employee referrals can be taken as one of the very important source of recruitment, because we know about the employees who are working in the concern. We know about their record, and we know about their background, we know everything about the employees. So when the employees refer some of the applicants, they can be taken, because it reflects a goodwill. As a goodwill gesture, companies also consider the names recommended by the employee referrals from time to time, because the logic behind this is it takes one to know one. So this is one of the internal source of recruitment called employee referrals. And next one is transfer. So employees can also be transferred from one department to another department. For example, a vacancy is, for example, you know well about sales and marketing departments are closely correlated as well as allied departments. A vacancy arises in the marketing department, and a person is also there in the sales department, and he is eligible for the post in the marketing department. So what the HR can do, he can be transferred from the sales department to the marketing department. So this transfer is also one of the source of internal recruitment. So from these sources we can get the candidate. Okay, next one is called external sources of recruitment. That is, we are hiring the employees from outside the organization. So we are in the previous case we have been recruiting the candidates from the within the concern, but now we are going outside the concern. So we can get the candidates from the following sources, namely advertisement, employment exchange, factory gate recruitment, casual callers, campus recruitment, labor contractors, walk-in interviews, e-recruitment and management consultants. So these are the popular ways of getting the candidates externally. Okay, here when we talk about advertisement, advertisement is a very common as well as a popular medium. The advertisement, when we want to get the candidates, we can give advertisement in magazines, in journals, in newspapers, in dailies. Okay, nowadays it is extended form. The extended form we can give it in social medias, mainly Facebook we can give in Twitter, we can give in Instagram, and we can also send through mails. So a lot of avenues are available nowadays. Advertisement is the very important as well as the popular as well as a common and preferred source of recruiting the candidates. So as I told you already, it depends upon the organization, it depends upon the type of job, it depends upon the nature of job, it depends upon the job position, it depends upon the skills required, qualification and experience expected. So we have to give all these things in the advertisement. So advertisement should cover all these aspects. So what about the concern? What about the type of the concern? What about the nature of job? What about the position of job? And what are the skills required to do the job and qualification required, as well as extra qualification required, skills required, and nowadays particularly language, computer language required, and experience, because everybody wants to get only the experienced candidates, not a raw candidate. So we have to specify everything in the advertisement and it should be given. So this is a popular media to self-evaluate the employee against the job requirements, and they can apply the job which best suits him. And another one is employment exchanges. The employment exchange, nowadays it is, even though it is existing, it is not very popular for the present generation. It is run by the government. It is run by the central government or it is run by the state government. And when compared with the advertisement or job seekers or casual callers or walk-in interview, this is not popular nowadays. See here, what the candidates have to do after completing the that is a degree or diploma, whatever else, they have to go to the employment exchanges and they have to give details about their name, about their qualification, about their experience, etc. So everything will be stored in the employment exchange, which is maintained by the government of Tamil Nadu or government of particular state governments or by government of India. So whenever there is a need arises, whenever there is any vacancy arises in a concern, what they will do, these concerns or these organizations will approach the employment exchanges and they will get the list of candidates suitable for the post, and after getting the list of candidates from the employment exchanges, they will send the letters to the persons concerned. So it is also a most common method for getting both skilled as well as unskilled as well as semi-skilled workers, and nowadays it is also even in practice nowadays. And casual callers. The casual callers, we can call them as unsolicited applicants. So what is called unsolicited applicants? Because they are actually job seekers, and actually nobody calls them, but they come to the concern and they will drop their mail or they will put their application for the job, seeking job opportunity. So nobody is calling them, nobody is asking them, nobody knows about them, but they themselves voluntarily approach the concern about the business unit and they will put their applications and give their resume and everything. So this is very important source of external recruitment, because these unsolicited applicants sometimes they may fulfill the job requirements and they may be suitable for the concern also. So this is one of the best means of recruitment. And next one, campus interview and campus placement. Actually, nowadays this is one of the we can say the emerging scenario in recruitment is campus recruitment in educational institutions. It is grooming like anything. There is a mushroom growth of educational institutions in all the states in all over India or in Tamil Nadu. A lot of educational institutions are there, and what they do, these educational institutions are conducting campus interview at the end of the year. For example, if it is a 3-year degree program, they are conducting this campus recruitment after the end of 3 years. If it is a diploma, after the end of the 3rd year, they will be conducting the campus recruitment. If it is a professional course, for example, if it is a BE or something like that, the campus recruitment or the interview will be there after the that is at the end of 4th year. So they will approach and they will invite companies. Popular companies, multinational companies, giant companies, and they will visit the educational institutions and they will select the candidates from the concern. So it is one of the very, very popular as well as the very that is a suitable method of getting the employees for recruitment. So what they will do, they will visit the concern, they will visit the educational institutions and they will conduct the campus recruitment and they will conduct first of all an interview, then they will give a test. Those who are qualified, the test will be called for another interview and they will be given medical examination and so on. So this is called campus placement. This is one of the suitable method for getting the candidates for technical job, for management job, as well as for professional job. So we can get the candidates for technical qualifications or for management category or even for professional categories. We can go and approach the candidates and we can get the suitable candidates. Next one is labor contractors. This is one of the oldest method which is followed to have the recruitment. So actually labor contractors are there in every field. When you want to have the technical qualification people, technical labor contractors are there. In the management field, management labor contractors are there, and for professional colleges also professional labor contractors are there. And actually this the concern will have the HR manager will have a link or will have a contract or an agreement with the labor contractors for a specific period of time. And whenever the need arises, they will contact the labor contractors and they will supply it. And this is usually very helpful for getting the unskilled as well as the semi-skilled workers. And the contractors keep in touch with the workers, and whenever the need arises, they will send them to their places. The next one, after getting the recruiters, walk-in interview is also one of the popular method of getting the candidates. See here, without getting the job applications or without calling for the job or without advertisements, we call the employers call the suitable applicants, and they can come to the industry and they can have the interview directly. So actually here the specified date, venue and time are mentioned, and the candidates are requested to come and give the interviews directly. So they have not submitted the applications in earlier. So this is one of the very popular as well as the most progressive method in conducting the external sources. Next one is re-recruitment. So what we have discussed already are the traditional method of getting the employees or candidates. But the latest avenue is re-recruitment. This means searching and screening the prospective candidates electronically. So we can, there are lot of portals are available, and in these portals we have to, for example, Naukri.com is there, Monster.com is there, and Shine.com is there. So we have to give the requirements in those portals, and we can get the candidates. So this is one of the best avenue for getting the suitable candidates. Then management consultants. So we can also contact the management consultants because they are acting as a middleman between the recruiter and the recruitee. and these management consultants are also getting having the list of candidates, and we can get the candidates for the professional qualification or technical qualification or managerial skills. We can get these candidates, and the consultants, management consultants, are actually a link between the recruiter and the recruitee. Okay. So so far we have discussed about the recruitment process, recruitment sources and avenues. And now we are going to see about the selection process. The first step is over, that is, and we are encouraging the candidates and we are motivating the candidates to apply for the jobs in the concern. So we can motivate the candidates through external agencies or through internal agencies. Next job is selection process. Selection means picking or choosing the right candidates for the job. We can say the right candidate for the right job. It is called selection process. Selecting the right candidate for the right job. Selection of right candidate for the wrong job or wrong candidate for the right job, both are very dangerous. So we have to pick or we have to choose only the right candidate who is the most suitable for a vacant job position. He should be suitable, most suitable. It is very, very important that if he is not suitable and if he doesn't fit into the present job position, everything will be spoiled. So this is very important, and it follows the recruitment process. In the case of a right applicant for a vacant position, it is an asset to the organization. And only when the right candidate is selected, it will be an asset for the concern. So in selection criteria, we have to consider certain parameters. Without considering these parameters, we can't go for selection. Number one is education, then competence, experience, skills and abilities, and personal characteristics. These are very important areas where we have to give more concentration. Educational qualification is the first one, and for any post, the candidate should have the basic minimum qualification or education, and we have to see that should be considered. Next, competence. He should be able to do the job for what he is selected. That is what is called competence. And experience. Experience is very, very important, because without experience he can't handle or he can't carry out the job. And apart from this, he should have the personal characteristics as well as skills and abilities. Whatever job he is doing, he should have the skill and he should also have the ability. So these are the some of the criteria or parameters, and all these things should be taken into account while applying, while selecting the candidates. So in the case of selection process, we have to conduct a preliminary interview, and the candidates have to pass through the selection test, interview, final interview, and checking references and physical examinations. So all these things should be done. But when you talk about the selection process is not the uniform thing in all the concerns. It may differ from concern to concern. There is no stereotype structure for the selection process. For example, in some cases they will have the preliminary interview, then they will go for application blank, then they will go for a test, and then screening of applications and interview and so on. But in some cases what they will do, they will have the application blanks in the first instant, then they will go for screening, then they will go for conducting test, interview and final examination and orientation and induction. So the things may be different, but usually there is a selection process is followed in all the concerns, but it is not uniform, and it may different from concern to concern. Okay, here I have given you some of the steps involved in selecting the applicants. Initial screening, it follows application blank, then pre-employment test, interview, background check, it is also called reference checking, and job offer, medical examination and final selection. So these are some of the stages involved in selecting the applicants. Let us see one by one in detail. So initial screening, actually why this is conducted, because when you are taking the applicants for a job, the vacancies may be very few only, but lot of applications we get. For example, if the vacancy, for example 2 or 3 vacancies, we may get more than 2000 applications. So it is very difficult for the concern. So they have to do the screening in the initial stage itself, so that we can drop out the that is unfit applicants or unfit candidates in the first stage itself. So what we are doing, we are conducting or we are following this initial screening. So here what we are doing, it is very helpful in saving the time as well as cost and effort in the selection process. It saves the time, it saves the cost as well as the effort. So here we are asking some general questions about the applicant. So we are screening the applicant on the basis of certain parameters or on the basis of certain criteria. So number of applicants will be dropped out at this stage. So the main purpose of screening is to reduce the number of applicants available in the selection process, and also to save the time, cost and effort of the selection committee. Next one, application blank. So the application blank is application form which is in blank, and the applicant has to fill the details about the applicant in the application blank. Actually it is only in a blank form, so that is why it is called application blank. So here they have to fill the information about the candidate, his name, his age, date of birth, qualifications, experience, additional qualifications, and skills acquired, and address for communication. So everything, for example his email ID, so lot of them, whatever things he has added to his personal profile, everything he has to give. But regarding the application blank, it is also not a standardized form. It may differ from concern to concern. So the historical data of the candidates can be collected by using the application blank, and it is very useful for verification, because we should know about the candidate, we should know about his background, we should know everything about the candidate. So we have to get the application blank from the candidate. So this is the next step. Next one is employment test. So actually we have screened applications, and we have also got the application blank from the candidates, that is the information from the candidate. Then we have to go for conducting some pre-employment test. So a test is usually conducted to know about the physical abilities, mental abilities, skills, characteristics, knowledge and behavior of the candidate. So everything is very, very important for a job. We should know about the candidate, we should know about the physical stamina of the candidate, we should know about the mental abilities, for example his patience, his efficiency, his dominance, characters like autonomy, everything we should know about the candidate. Knowledge, whether he has deep knowledge in the particular field or not, as well as the skills acquired by the candidate, and personal characteristics of the candidate. So everything should be ascertained. So for this we have to conduct the pre-employment test. So actually number of tests are there, and we have to give the test depending upon the concern, depending upon the nature of the job, and with the passage of time the application of pre-employment test is growing at a fast rate in the selection process, because they can explain and qualities and skill of the applicant clearly. So the advantage of application of test in the selection process is that it can ensure the potential and qualified candidate for the post of for any post in the concern. And so in the case of a test, we have to see the features or characteristics of a well designed test. The test should be a standardized one, it should be objectivity, norms should be followed, it should be reliability, there should be validity. Standardized means there should be some standard in giving the test. Objectivity should also be there should not be any subjectivity. Norms should be properly followed, it should be reliable, and it should also have validity. So these parameters or these criteria should be followed while designing a test. And we can have different types of test. So we can have this aptitude test, and we can have the cognitive test, we can have the psychomotor abilities test, and we can have the job knowledge test, whether the person or the candidate is suitable for the job, he is having the knowledge about the job and everything, and work sample test and personality test. Okay, so we have given lot of tests for the candidate. Now we have to conduct the interview for the candidate. This is a very important step in the selection process. So interview means the candidate will be called for an interview and the questions will be asked by the interviewer. It is usually conducted personal or face-to-face interview is conducted. The person who is conducting the interview is called interviewer, and the person who is being interviewed is called interviewee. So both have to meet at a point of time, and the interviewer have to arrange for conducting the interview, and he has to decide the place of interview, he has to decide the time of interview, and he has to set the location for the interview, and the interviewer should also be selected for the interview, and the information about the interview should be given to the interviewer as well as to the interviewee. And the person who is conducting the interview should also have a basic qualification. He should have training in conducting the interview. So a lot of things are there in conducting the interview. It is not a very simple job. So the candidate should also know the date and place of conducting the interview. So it is very important to know about the candidate, about the qualities of the candidate and about the skill of the candidate, and even in knowing the communication skill and everything, the interviews are usually conducted, and a job profile must be prepared on the basis of job description before conducting the interview. Then regarding the contents of the interview, the following are very essential contents called occupational experience. The experience he is already having. Then achievements, academic achievements of the candidate, what he has achieved, and the skills of the candidate, and personal qualities, and organizational fit in the candidate. So these things are analyzed at the time of the interview. Then actually in the case of interview, conducting the interview is also a very important task. So the interviewer is there and the interviewee is also there. When the interviewee is coming for the interview, he should be, the rapport should be created for conducting the interview, and the interviewee should also be feel free in attending the interview. And the interviewer should slowly and shortly he will start the interview, and he will make the interviewee very comfortable in that particular place, and the interview will be going on, and he will ask the questions regarding depending upon the nature of the job, depending upon the present position, he will ask the questions. So then slowly he will get the response from the candidate, and finally he will close the interview. So the things are very important in conducting the interview also. So he should make the candidate comfortable first of all in conducting the interview, and he should ask the questions. Here the questions may be asked, that is unstructured interview or structured interview. See, unstructured interview means open-ended questions are asked in the interview. Open-ended questions means we can't say yes or no. For example, what's your age? 45. Are you qualified? No. Are you skilled? Yes. So this is called yes or no questions. But in the case of open-ended questions, no, we can't get the response like yes or no. For example, the question may be asked, what is your opinion about yesterday's movie you have viewed? So we have to write a paragraph only. So yesterday I went to a movie, and a question was about the review about yesterday's movie. Means I can't say yes or no. I have to write the review about yesterday's film and what you want to become in near future. So here I have to give my motive or goal, or my that is future plan of action. Everything I have to give in 5 or 6 sentences. This is what is called open-ended questions. The employees, that is the candidates, can give lengthy answers. So it is generally non-directive in nature. So these kind of questions, open-ended questions, can be asked in the unstructured interview. The next one is structured interview. Here the structured interview, it is a kind of patterned questions will be asked, and some of the questions like situational questions or job knowledge questions or work requirement questions may be asked. And in the case of mixed interview, both questions may be asked. Both structured as well as non-structured questions can be asked in the mixed interview. And the interview may be conducted by one-to-one interview, one interviewer, one interviewee, or group interview, group of persons conducting the interview. And board interview means the persons who are in the board, 4 or 5 persons conducting the interview for one person. And stress interview, here the stress interview means the interviewer will create a stress for the interviewee. He will not make the interviewee comfortable, but he will create lot of stress, and he wants to know whether the interviewee is able to overcome all the stress. That kind of interview is called stress interview. So after conducting the interviews, we have to check the background of the employees also. We have to check the background as well as the educational background, as well as the criminal record of the candidate, as well as the legal status of the candidates. Everything will be verified. And for this, actually when the person is filling the application forms, they have to give 2 references or 1 reference, popular references. And what the employer will do, they will contact those references and they will check about the person's background. That is very important because the level of responsibility of the new job directs the intensity of the background investigation. So investigation should be done, very important, because the background check assists the selection committee in dropping the applicants that have some issues or some attendance problem or theft or some special behavioral problems, etc. For example, the person is having some of the problems, like for example honesty or integrity. In those cases the application may be dropped. So this reference checking is also done. The next one, after reference checking, we have to go for conditional job offer. So job offer may be given to the candidates, and the applicants that best meets the requirements of a job is selected, and conditional offer letter is also given, which is followed by the medical examination. So medical examination is very important for any category of a post. So whether the candidate, so he is suitable, and the educational point of view he is suitable, and he is also having the skill, he is also having the knowledge, he is also having the extra qualification and everything, he is also having training and everything. But medically we have to confirm whether the applicant is suitable or not. So for this one, we have to conduct medical examination of the selected candidates, and we have to check whether he has taken the drugs and everything. We have to check about the eyesight, so hearing problem, if there is any hearing problem, and so on. So for depending upon all these grounds, medical examination will be done. And after the medical examination is over, the final selection will be done, and the candidate will be given the offer letter, and he will be asked to join in the concern. So after the medical examination is over, the candidate will be selected and he will be employed in the concern. So actually these are some of the steps involved in the recruitment process. So far we have done what is recruitment, sources of recruitment, and what is selection, and the steps involved in the selection process. Thank you.